Yes, sir.
My question is about media. Looking at all the types of terrorist attacks that we have studied and possibly some earlier ones, would you say that there is, let's say, an attack in Sri Lanka by the Tamils and versus an attack in, say, Israel or by a Muslim group over there? Do you think that there is a general pattern of the media giving more focus to the religious ones, or I should say religious, the ones which are Muslim versus the ones which are not?
Yes, yes, and the reason is because we were attacked on 9/11 by Muslim terrorists. They just were. They were Muslim. They were Islamic fundamentalists. But what I'm telling you is that wasn't the trigger. That wasn't the trigger. The trigger here is the foreign occupation and that secondhand smoke that we described. Those are the triggers that led to 9/11, and you see it in their martyr videos. But yes, what you're seeing is a media, it's both the fact that we had no good information about what was driving suicide terrorism, and the media basically forming a conventional wisdom. And that is trapping a lot of our elites, it's true, but the data increasingly is overwhelmingly moving on the other side. Even bits of the media are moving. Yeah.
And the Palestinians, people used to fight with the Israelis for many years. And then there was a turning, and the assumption of the Israelis was that the Palestinians are not going to be suicide bombers.
Yeah.
Even if there was attacks, it was very sketchy thing of everything. The turning point wasn't during the peace process in the 90s. Then we faced another phenomenon of suicide bombing.
Right.
What led to this change?
Yeah, the number of settlers in the West Bank in Gaza. What exactly happened is during the first years of the technical legal occupation from 67 to the mid-80s, almost no settlers into the occupied territories, teeny tiny numbers. Then starting in the mid-1980s, 15,000 a year, every year, kept going in, and not up, horizontal, taking territory, as the peace process was going on. So here you have Palestinians being told there's a peace process to stop the settlers. They're not stopping the process, and so that's where the issues of the corruption come in, with Arafat, all that, because what's happening here is it's about facts on the ground. And since 2005, the number of settlers horizontally has totally stopped, and even incrementally has going vertically up, as I like to call it, has slowed way down. So that's what's actually brought the suicide attacks down. It has to do with the number of settlers going horizontally. Take one more question.
One more question? All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry to have to do this, folks, but we're really under this tight schedule, and this is just the life where we live. Yep.
Your data is pretty persuasive to me, and it would seem to argue that we shouldn't put more soldiers into, say, southern Afghanistan.
Right.
But that's precisely what we've done.
That's exactly right.
What has been the impact of your research on our legislators in Washington?
A lot of them are seeing that's why this was a big mistake. So I was part of and as soon as that debate happened in the fall of 2009, you can go and see I had the big op-ed in the New York Times, I was giving testimony in Capitol Hill. Basically people were saying, well, okay, we just sort of don't worry about it anymore because, by the way, Obama's been elected president and terrorists now love, they simply said terrorism's not a problem anymore, Professor Pape. And then after we did it, we had Hassan, the Fort Hood shooting spree, the Christmas bomber, we had the Times Square. Now people are starting to notice that in fact all of those are linked to Afghanistan. So what's basically happening, sir, is that people really want this threat to go away. They forgot about it, and now they're seeing that it's real. And I think that's having a big effect on Libya. A big effect on Libya. One quick one, sir, and then I'll go.
Yeah, particularly about Hezbollah, because you were right, many people in this area are familiar with it. Do you think that the success that Hezbollah had, using suicide attacks as a strategic, what they term military option, during the occupation on Lebanese territory, and then the subsequent, what we would have to call successful defense
Yeah,
of the national integrity of Lebanon,
right.
way beyond the Lebanese army in the invasion in '06, has spurned, motivated more people toward this?
It has motivated more people to defend themselves against foreign occupation. What's been happening actually through the entire 20th century is occupation is becoming harder and harder and is well nigh impossible. That's what's happening. Suicide terrorism is simply the latest strategy and one of the most effective against an occupation. But notice how it's a defensive strategy. Why? Because you get a lot of recruits if you're talking about defending your homeland or territory that's mattered, that's under attack. You don't get so many when it's about going on the offense. You see what I mean? They just say, oh, well, I'll think about that. So it actually is, what you're seeing is that occupation is becoming harder and harder. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I really do, I'm afraid, have to go, or else I can't go home.
So thank you very much for coming today. We are sorry that we couldn't take all the questions because, as you said, we are very tight on the schedule. We have copies of Dr. Pape's book, and it's available at a quite very significant discount as a gift of Niagara Foundation, so with a minimum fee. And we have refreshments at the back, so enjoy, and hopefully we'll see you at other Niagara Foundation events. Thank you.